What's going on, everybody? My name is Goudey Baseball. I'm a baseball card enthusiast. I'm an investor, collector. I started making content around vintage baseball cards. You could check out some of my stuff last week. I was covering the 1954 Topps baseball set, all of the history that's involved with that set, some of the rookies, iconic players, and some of the different fun facts that are involved in 1954 Topps. If you're new to the channel, definitely would love for you to subscribe. Follow me here as well as on TikTok, where I'll be making a lot of these videos. This week, I want to cover a different vintage set that I believe is the number 3 most important set in all of baseball card history. The number 3 set, in my opinion, is the 1933 Goudey. I'll be showing you guys some of the cards that I have in my collection, but today I kind of want to go over some of the facts around the set, why I think it's so important, and yeah. So let me get into it. Again, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel or followed my YouTube video on my TikTok videos, I would totally appreciate it if you followed me at Bonkers Cards. So, 1933 Goudey, up there with the T206 Honus Wagner set. It's right behind the 1952 Topps set, in my opinion, as the number 3 most important baseball card set in the history of baseball cards. And let me tell you why. Up until 1933, baseball cards were primarily found in tobacco packs, right? The T206 set was famous because Honus Wagner's card was in there and then immediately pulled out of production because Honus Wagner didn't want his card into tobacco cards. Well, that's how the story goes. Through that time, you saw a number of different types of cards that were in tobacco. It didn't even have to be baseball players. There's been cards with presidents on them. There's been tobacco cards with airplanes, dogs, animals, all sorts of stuff. So a lot of times baseball cards were not really targeted towards children, right? Because they were in cigarette packs and little kids really weren't supposed to be smoking cigarettes. It wasn't until 1933 when the 1933 Goudey set came along, and it was the very first baseball card set that included bubble gum. Now, baseball cards are basically iconic and known for having bubble gum in them, right? I mean, how many people have opened packs from the 80s and 90s just to see if the bubble gum's still in them? The Goudey cards were pretty revolutionary in including bubblegum in them and also including numbers in the set. So I've got some fun facts here in this video that I want to break down on the 1933 Goudeys, but I also, it would be wrong of me as a collector not to show off some of mine. So here you guys go. I want to show you first off with some of the raw stuff that I have. I mean, the colors in this set were just absolutely beautiful. I'm also going to put in some B-roll footage of my cards up close so you guys can get a better look. I love this Guy Bush card. I'm trying to, avoid the glare. But the history and the color in this set just alone to me is awesome. So I've bought these before at like 30, 40 bucks for a common player that's not in the Hall of Fame. I actually got some of these graded slabs at a show for only 30 bucks, which is awesome. I mean, just look at the color on this. This is a higher grade one. This is a grade 4. Walter Brown's famous because he's on the 1933 Yankees. This is actually his rookie. He played in the Murderers Row Yankees team. So for me as a Yankee fan, I'm rocking the vintage Lou Gehrig jersey. For of my Yankee fans out there, having anybody that played on those Murderers Row Yankees teams is awesome. And for it to be a 1933 Goudey, how could I pass on that? But let me get into some of the fun facts in 1933 Goudey. There's 4 different 1933 Goudey Babe Ruth cards, all different in terms of value and rarity. You have the yellow back, the red back, the green back, and the full stance Babe Ruth. These cards will go at auction for anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 in the low end range. But once you get talking that higher end condition stuff, I've seen a couple of Goudeys at the recent show. In my first video at the Winter Extravaganza, I saw an autographed Babe Ruth. That yellow back variant, I think that will probably go north of 6 figures, which is just absolutely insane. It's crazy that there are these Babe Ruth cards that still exist. It kind of reminds me, I was in a local antique store, I'd say last summer. I was talking to the antique store owner asking if he had any of the older baseball cards, and he said no, but there was an older woman that was in here yesterday that brought in an authentic Babe Ruth card. So my jaw drops, and I said, what? And now this is an antique store in local New Jersey, northern New Jersey. The woman walks into the store, and he said she was in her upper 80s, and pulls out of her purse a raw Babe Ruth card that was autographed. Gives it to the guy, and she was asking for $500. Thankfully, the store owner was really kind. He asked, where did you get this from? She said, Babe Ruth autographed this card for me when I was a little girl at Yankee Stadium. He took the card. He said, listen, I know that this card's worth a lot more than $500 if this is authentic. He actually had it expressed down to JSA, which is only about a half hour away from us here over in Parsippany, New Jersey. Came back, it was authentic, and now the card's going to be going to auction for quite a bit amount of money. That was a 1933 Goudey card, so it was a pretty cool story for me to hear. Ever since then, I've been kind of chasing and trying to learn more about the 33 Goudeys. There's also a Lou Gehrig from that set that goes for a good amount of money as well. I'll put in some pictures here throughout the video so you guys can check it out, but just a crazy story. So yeah, there's 4 different Babe Ruth variants, as I had mentioned, Gehrig, and then there's a number of different Hall of Fame players. I don't know the number of Hall of Fame players off the top of my head, but it's a really cool set. Some of the raw and common cards you can get for like 15 to 20 bucks, so pretty collectible in my opinion, and the historical relevance of it being the first set with bubblegum, I think is really cool. But easily, the cool story that comes from the 1933 Goudey set is not Babe Ruth, it's not Lou Gehrig, it's the mystery of NAP LOJIE. NAP LOJIE was supposed to be the number 106 card in the 1933 Goudey set. There's 240 cards in this set, however, no one could find number 106. And the reason why? It was not there. They intentionally left out the 1933 NAP LOJIE card in order to get little kids and collectors alike to keep ripping open the packs to find this card. The thing was, they never produced it. It's pretty interesting. This card is an extremely high value rarity card because in 1934, they actually produced a 1933 number 106 card for the people that wrote in and complained, basically. So it's a very rare card to find, and it's one of the earlier stories of marketing here in America. In order to get people to buy more cards, just don't make it and tell them that it's there. I don't know if that would definitely necessarily fly in today's world, but it's a really cool story. I've got a picture here of NAP LOJIE, the card that you can see. What's interesting is that they actually did, instead of print this number 106 card, it's the number 140 Babe Ruth card. They actually double printed that card in its place. So the reason why that you'll notice the standing picture of Babe Ruth, that 1933 Goudey card, that goes for a little bit less money than the red back, the yellow back, or the green back of an up close shot, because those cards were not produced at the same level of the standing Ruth, because the standing Ruth was used in place of the mysterious number 106. So pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. If you read articles about the value of the 1933 Goudeys, they can be all over the place. The Babe Ruth cards are pretty consistently trending upwards. I mean, only 2-3 years ago, you could actually get a low grade Babe Ruth card for around $1,000. The lowest grade Babe Ruth cards you can get now are like $6 to $7 grand. I was at an auction, or not an auction, I was at a trade show a couple of weeks ago, and they had Babe Ruth Goudeys that were going out to auction, and there was a PSA 8 Babe Ruth auto of the 1933 Goudey set, and they were expecting that to go north of 6 figures. So pretty crazy. I love all the different cards that come in the set. I love the colors of it, the historical relevance of having the bubblegum, and then you add in the NAP LOJIE card. I mean, it's a pretty cool set. For anybody out there interested in vintage baseball, I break down old vintage baseball card sets. I collect them. I share them here on my YouTube channel and my TikTok channel. I'd love it if you guys could follow me. I always try to rock a little bit of vintage clothing. I'm going to think about potentially kind of showing off some of my clothing, memorabilia collection as I go through some of these videos, but wanted to break that down for you. If you like it, please give me a follow. Share this with your friends that love baseball cards and vintage. I'm hoping to keep the momentum rolling. So thanks so much, guys. See you soon.